Hey everybody, we're back for another episode of I Gotta Be Honest With You. I'm Tom.
G-Man.
Dunnzilla.
And today we're gonna give the people what they want.
Unlike Marvel.
Exactly.
We want to thank everybody who voted on our second poll. There will be a new poll tonight, and the winner of that poll was the RMS Titanic. So here we go, boys. We're gonna talk about the Titanic.
Can you explain how this all happened? How did the Titanic become even a contender?
I thought it was funny. I didn't think people were gonna vote for it.
We just
Yeah,
ran.
who would have thought it would have beat up Star Wars in a poll?
True that.
By one freaking
By one
vote.
vote.
Actually, the funny thing is, we were sitting there. We were all sitting there going, "Hey, let's do a poll. What do we do ones that are celebrating anniversaries?" And somehow Titanic ended on the
20th
list.
anniversary this year of the film.
Yep.
105th of the year since it sank. So let's start at the beginning, boys. The Titanic was a Royal Mail steamship that was that left England on April 10th, 1912, then left the port of Southampton and was going to sail across the Atlantic Ocean to New York City. And on the fateful night of April 14th, 1912, at approximately 11:40 p.m., she hit an iceberg. She is the name of the ship.
Yep.
She hit the iceberg, and 2 hours and 40 minutes later, the ship sank. And over 1,500 people were killed because of the lack of preparations by British Steam Line to incorporate a number of lifeboats.
Well, they thought it was.
They thought it was unsinkable. It had this
Right.
reputation of being
It
only.
was so big they didn't think it was
It was the biggest ship of its time until its sister ship, the Britannic, came around in 1918. That was a hospital ship during World War I, and that actually sank too. But not many people died on that because
I guess bigger's not always so much better.
well,
Though.
that was actually struck by a torpedo or a mine. That remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But it's the 20th anniversary of the Titanic film, directed by James Cameron and starred Leonardo Dicaprio, Kate Winslet, Billy Zane, and Victor Garber.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about that film. Dale, what's your memory with Titanic? Titanic Mania as it occurred in
Titanic Mania.
1997.
Actually, all I remember is what I remember back then is it's a 4-hour plus movie, isn't it? It's
3 hours and 15.
Yeah, almost 4 hours. For some reason, now you got to wonder. Back then, ticket sales weren't. You didn't pay so much for tickets, but yet the thing was number one for I think 10 or 12
the whole
weeks.
summer Titanic.
Oh yeah, it was number one.
One of the first movies to ever gross over $1 billion.
Oh yeah, and it also and not anymore. I think Avatar or something else has taken over, but it was the number one movie of all time.
Oh yeah, but several movies have broken that.
Right, but here's the funny thing: if you did a chart with the money from back when, and did with the inflation and all that, Gone with the Wind is still the number one
Gone
movie.
with the Wind all time.
All time, but because of the money, it won't be. But
Inflation,
exactly what they said. They've done that and said Gone with the Wind is the movie that made the most money ever.
And when that movie made $1 billion, that was unheard of.
Yep.
In
Oh,
the
yeah.
1990s.
Oh yeah.
But now it's that's almost a standard barrier
It's
for
like
even superhero
It's almost
movies.
like every superhero movie or
It has to cross that billion
or
to be considered a success.
historic, war movies. They're always up there.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing. The thing about it that even makes it even more amazing is the fact it's a 4-hour movie, so you're not going to get as many showings.
True. They
Whereas-
probably had it in multiple theaters.
Well,
though.
oh yeah, they did. But the point of making those, if you have a movie, you can only show so many times the 4-hour movie.
Yeah.
Whereas you have one that's say 2 hours, you're going to be able to show it twice, and you're going to make more money that way. But still, Titanic. From what I know, Titanic. There are so many people that love that movie. They just love that movie. They'll watch it over and over again.
It really has a lot of things in it. It's a love story.
Yep.
Of course. If it wasn't a love story, no one would want to see it.
But it's also a disaster movie too at the same time.
Towering Inferno.
Towering Inferno style.
Or the Poseidon Adventure.
Well, the Poseidon Adventure.
That movie was awesome.
Yeah,
it was.
the first one,
the
not
original.
Yeah,
the
second
original
one.
Poseidon Adventure
With
was
Ernest Borgnine.
Yep.
Yep.
And Gene Hackman.
Yep.
Not the remake with Kurt
Great.
Russell.
Movie
No.
sucked.
Yeah, it did.
Well, they did another one where they went back to Poseidon 2 with what's his name? There wasn't.
That sucked.
Yeah, okay, no. I wouldn't get into it at that point. It's done. No one to cut your losses.
So the Titanic struck an iceberg, and you got to give your hats off to the guys who kept the engine, kept the lights going, so the guys on the Marconi radio could try to signal for help.
Oh yeah, you do. You know the things I would see in the movie. The things that I find kind of sad were the fact that all the poor third class people were like, oh, you're nothing, and we're us first, then them, and that's wrong. I also didn't like. I mean, back then that wouldn't happen.
No.
But, I mean, now it wouldn't, but then it did. And the fact is, what band plays on while you're going to drown? I'm sorry, I just don't get
Near
it.
My God to Thee. That's the song that they played.
I know, but I just.
They were gonna die anyway.
Well, I know, but I mean, so what? We're gonna. Well,
It was
okay.
only women and children
First?
and all the men died.
Yeah, there you go.
the richest people in the world were actually on the ship.
Yeah.
John Jacob Astor, Benjamin
Yeah.
Guggenheim.
Yeah.
They
They decided to stay.
decided to stay.
So here's my other question. We'll throw out that it's been asked by a few people when I said we were doing the show and couldn't believe we were actually doing it. Do you actually think there was room for Jack on the board that she was on, or what
Yeah.
at the end? Oh yeah.
Yeah, they could have easily
Yes.
just,
I thought you didn't
they
see
could
it.
have huddled
I
together.
did, but everyone knows of that part.
Everybody knows that. That's like
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's when everyone started crying. I actually
Yeah.
laughed. I'm like,
I was like, I'm like, really?
I'm like, dude, get out of the water.
You do realize if you rewind it, they all live. Right? If you rewind the movie, they all live. They don't drown.
Moving on.
Yeah, even I gotta admit that was laughing.
That
Oh,
was-
sorry. Whatever. So I throw it out there. Some comic
Well,
myself.
maybe-
Here's another
um,
thing though about the Titanic though.
Well,
You've
what I
been
was
on-
thinking was maybe if they were both on it, it'd be too heavy and it would sink.
Maybe. You
Wood
can,
doesn't sink.
you can attest to this though.
I'm trying to give them the benefit of a doubt.
Neither do witches, but what's the point?
You can attest to this though. You've been on a cruise ship. You ever been on a cruise ship?
Yeah.
You can't see Jack in front of you at night. No,
Nope.
not Jack like
So
Jack
dark.
Dawson. It's so dark.
Well, don't forget they didn't have radar back then. They didn't have
Didn't have anything.
GPS.
Yeah.
So they can't. Nowadays you can see what's ahead of you like 5 miles away.
Well, it's funny you mentioned something miles away because there's the story of the ship on the horizon that didn't go to save them, the Californian.
Yeah.
There's a story that the Titanic crew and survivors and even members of the other ship, supposedly there was a ship 10 miles away, the Californian, that saw the Titanic's distress signals and didn't acknowledge it. They also shut their Marconi radios off for the night after giving them an ice warning. So that's a little touchy subject. But in several Titanic films, don't even touch upon that subplot. Cameron's version cut it from the film. There was one reference to it.
So my question is now, talking about the movie, talking about it, was it like a case of well, they didn't think it was that big an iceberg, or they just thought they were so they could go through it and it wouldn't be a big deal.
Well, they wanted to break all the records, Titanic.
Right.
They wanted to surprise people by coming in a day early, going at 22 knots.
Yeah.
And most of the other ships at that time were only going like 16 or
but
17.
the captain wanted to slow down.
He wanted to slow down,
wanted
but
to
he
go
was
slow
urged.
because they wouldn't be able to see the
Right.
Yeah, the bergs.
the iceberg.
So it's kind of like the Concorde, where you want to set a record and they would go,
Yeah.
oh, I want to be on that.
Yeah, the guy that designed the ship,
Bruce Ismay.
Ismay. He
Yeah.
just wanted I want to
Thomas Andrews was
make
the architect.
make
Right.
the newspapers. I want to
Right.
get there.
Because then he'd be a multimillionaire if he had the
Yeah.
ship that would go through.
It was also Captain Smith's last voyage.
Yeah, you went down with it.
He went down with his ship.
Well, that's pretty much the way it is. You go down with the ship,
You
you
have
have
to go
captain.
down with your
Except
ship.
that guy on the cruise ship a couple years ago. Remember?
Oh,
him?
yeah,
yeah,
He goes
yeah.
sideways. The guy who was the first one
Yeah.
off the boat.
Yeah.
Now he's in jail, I think.
There you go. Well, that's because he didn't go down with the ship. That's kind of part of being a captain.
Yeah. You're responsible.
Well, he was
for
supposed to
everybody.
get all the people off first.
Captain's
he just
leaving the
went
last.
overboard.
Yeah.
He took a lifeboat for
He
himself.
didn't dress up like a woman, did he?
Some people did that.
I know that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, right.
yeah, someone did.
Because when the issue was ordered to abandon ship, women and children first in the lifeboats.
Yep.
That guy dressed up as a woman.
But there was, like I said, there were a lot of good actors. Billy Zane was in there.
Oh
Take it,
man,
Billy Zane.
Billy
Go ahead.
Zane was the best actor in the whole movie. He had the coolest lines. He was just
He's a prick. Smuggle.
very
Yeah.
sophisticated
Yeah,
and rich.
You're smugglers. But we're forgetting the most important character in the film, Jim Cameron's film Titanic. Billy Zane's Caledon Hockley had a valet, and his character's name was Lovejoy.
Yep,
That
true
guy
as that can
That
be.
guy
That
deserved
guy
the
was
prequel.
awesome.
Yeah, he did.
He deserved the prequel.
Yeah, he did. He was great.
What could possibly be funny? One of the plot points of the film was the heart of the ocean, which was this blue diamond that Cal was going to give Rose, that he gave her,
Yeah.
as like an engagement present or just because he wanted to, wanted to be with her. And
So now,
they accused Jack of stealing it.
wasn't Jack was third class, but she was a higher
She was
up.
first class.
She was
so
first
it sort of had
class,
that
yeah.
star-crossed Romeo
Yeah,
and
kind
Juliet
of, yeah,
thing.
Rome, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which DiCaprio did a year before.
Which was
It
awful.
wasn't that good.
Yeah, it was all right. If you're Shakespeare, it's all right. Anyway. Okay.
No, I thought you were talking.
No,
So they had the heart of the ocean, and which was the blue diamond, and Billy Zane put it in his coat, and then he put the coat on her.
Yeah.
And one of the other plot points of the film was Bill Paxton, rest in peace.
Rest
buddy.
in peace.
Oh,
you
yeah.
rock, dude.
He was an ocean explorer who was looking for the diamond, and it turns out Rose, as an old lady, had kept the diamond on her
Yep.
for all these years.
I mean, all in all, I mean, it was a romantic movie. I mean, and I can understand why it made so much money because I mean, I just don't have 4 hours I can waste doing that. I'm sorry.
What's your favorite scene?
The end.
Objectively, what's your favorite? Is it I'm Flying Jack?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's on Flying Jack. Yeah, that's really whatever. Yeah, right. How many people have done that in their life? I wonder. Really. Anyway, no, actually, you know, as I think about it, I found the Jack character more interesting than the Rose character in the whole movie for some reason.
I find Billy Zane's character.
Well, I did too, but I mean,
oh
if you're going to pick the top two, that's where I go. Billy Zane was actually really good in it too.
Billy Zane made that movie.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he made the movie.
He was actually
He
like
was awesome.
he was awesome. He was just the cool guy,
Right.
but a jerk at the same time.
Billy Zane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the villain that you cheer for.
There you go.
I mean, he just didn't want
Yeah.
that boat to swamp when he got on the collapsible lifeboat.
No.
So in a way, he actually did save people.
He saved that little girl,
He saved that little girl.
but
And
mostly
he's-
to save himself.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I would.
Well,
Well, wouldn't you have done the same
I
thing?
would've.
I would.
Most people
I
have
don't know.
ulterior motives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
But he kept that boat from swamping when the people were rushing.
Yeah.
I think Eric Larson was the one that was swimming. That tried to get on the boat and he hit him with the oar. Eric Larson was on the Titanic.
wow.
What was the movie where a guy actually got hit in the head with an oar?
Was it
I don't know.
Like we're talking Jeff Jarrett style.
Nice. With a guitar?
Yeah, you know,
It was one of those Dracula movies.
probably.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so anyway, like I said, though,
But it is a technological achievement.
for his time.
Oh, yeah,
It
it
still
yeah.
is.
Oh, yeah.
Cameron was at his all-time apex in that
Mid '90s, the CGI was everywhere.
It was
But
starting.
he took it to the next level with Terminator 2.
Oh, T2, which
And
was
then
an
again
awesome film.
with Titanic.
Yeah.
Well,
Then he took 12 years off before he made Avatar.
which
I didn't see it.
Which I haven't either, but I heard they're making sequels. Why God only knows.
Whatever.
Yeah, we're not doing that one. I'm sorry. I
trying
don't
to
care if it wins,
capitalize on the
if it wins or not.
I think they're a little behind. Well, he always took so long to make sequels anyway, because
Yeah.
T2 was made, what, 7 years after T1?
Yeah, I think if you have the right director and they have the able to do it, you can make amazing movies. I mean,
Cameron was supposed to direct a lot of movies, though, before
Really?
Titanic and after True Lies. He was going to do X-Men at one
That's
point
what I
in the
heard,
early
yeah.
90s. Spider-Man, remember Michael Biehn
Yeah.
confirmed that to
Yeah.
us at Rock
Yep.
and Shock 2008.
yeah, Spider-Man would have been interesting if he did it.
I've read his script. It was actually more of an R-rated, darker version of Spider-Man. He swore there was going to be a sex scene.
There's actually
Spider-Man was actually going to be older.
There's actually a guy I know that loves Spider-Man. He loves the fact that when he's darker and he's tougher because he actually pointed out that Spider-Man's actually really a badass, but he really
They make him
yeah,
innocent
exactly
and juvenile.
right. So I mean, all in all, I go. I hope this worked out. That I think we did.
I think we did okay for the Titanic.
Yeah,
We're
we
not
did.
done yet. I know we got a couple minutes, but let's be honest. Titanic hasn't really been covered in a lot of comic books,
No.
except Spawn 254.
Yep, which was actually a pretty good issue.
Which was a great issue where Spawn goes back in time and shows that he can't be a god.
Nope.
Yeah, well, what was the plot? Like he could have saved someone,
He could
but
save somebody on the
decided,
Titanic.
but he decided to let it sink because it would have altered
Oh,
the
would have
future.
altered
Yeah, wouldn't it mess the timeline? You get.
Yeah.
I guess if we're gonna
Butterfly effect.
Yeah, if we're gonna talk timeline, I watched Doctor Who. By the way, later on, Doctor Who, they're gonna announce who the new Doctor Who is. That matters.
This will air after that.
Yeah.
That'll be announced on our Facebook after.
Right. But here's the thing. There's a thing they say through the whole time, the whole Doctor Who thing. You're talking about time that there are pinpoints in time. They're pinpoints in time that
You can't change.
you can't change.
Yeah.
In other words, if it's a certain thing, you can't. There are certain things you can change, but there's certain things you can't. And the butterfly effect, like if you go back in time and step on a butterfly, God knows what it might do.
Alters the future.
Exactly.
But I don't think saving the Titanic. I think the Titanic sinking proved that
It's a
the
point in time.
arrogance. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a point in time. It showed the arrogance on a lot of people, thinking that stuff was unsinkable.
Well, they did the same thing with the Hindenburg too.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
now every ship has the proper amount of lifeboats.
Yeah. I mean, because like not to jump off the ship thing, but the Hindenburg, they didn't think that was ever going to catch fire. Look what happened.
Which was funnier?
Seriously? Wow. Neither.
No, neither. The Hindenburg. We are not doing a Hindenburg episode.
Well, no, I was just trying to point out that back in the time they thought that there was nothing that could go wrong. And like it's big, it's bad.
Hats off
that's
to,
it.
the last thing I'll say before we end this is we got to give hats off to Dr. Robert Ballard for discovering the Titanic 73 years after
Yep.
it
Oh,
sank,
yeah.
2.5 miles underneath the North Atlantic.
So here's my other question: how much other stuff's underwater that we haven't found?
Well, Dr. Ballard discovered a lot of ships, the Bismarck, the
Yeah.
Lusitania.
But I
I mean,
mean,
he discovered the Britannic as well.
oh yeah. I mean, there's tons of stuff under there. I mean, think of all the
Like in the abyss.
yeah, or
Abyss.
or possibly in the
The abyss.
Bermuda Triangle.
There's nothing in the Bermuda Triangle. I've been through the Bermuda Triangle 4 times. Nothing happened.
That's
There's
because
no
you're not
ghosts.
special.
There was no.
I thought that only happened to airplanes.
That happened to cruise
Because
ships.
it would mess up the.
It does, but that's what messes up ships.
Yeah,
too.
ship's radar and
Yeah.
stuff, and like dead people.
They-
Well, I've been to Bermuda, nothing happened.
Nothing happens.
Yeah, I haven't been here, so I don't know.
But we want to thank everybody for voting on the Titanic, and there'll be another poll in the near future.
See you later, kids.
Take care.